Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the regular Board of Selectmen meeting to order on March 16th, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. Thank you for all of those who are here in attendance. And at the table, we have Selectman John Measham, Selectman Jim Lampos, First Selectwoman Martha Shoemaker, and we have our clerk, Jen Datum. And we are off. So with that, information items, communications, and correspondence. I'm just going to go over a couple of things that I have, and then we can have each of you take a turn. One of the things that I can tell you is that Eric Knapp will be going to the housing meeting over at Rivercoff. I think he's going on the 19th. So that is something that's happening. And this week also, our police recruit, Derek Brisbiz, will be graduating on Wednesday at Central State University at 2:00. And that's exciting. And then he'll be on our team. I emailed you both the congressionally directed spending for Dr. Blumenthal and Senator Murphy's office. If you want to start to think about projects that we could put in for, we can do that. We can apply to one senator's office, but let the other senator's office know that we've done that. So we're happy to write those up if you have some ideas. These are just 2-page applications because this is to be considered for it. And then they'll ask for more information going forward if we get chosen from the first round. We received a letter, which I gave you both copies of tonight, from Connecticut Water, that Connecticut Water is filing a general rate case with PURA. They're filed their intent on March 13th, I believe it was, to PURA for a 19% rate hike. Once we know, I think PURA has 270 days to look into the situation, and I believe there will be a hearing at some point, and we'll learn more as we go through on that. The other thing that we extended the bids for the road paving to March 26th because the ad did not get into the New London Day in a timely manner, and we need 10 days by state law. So it's going in tomorrow, and we'll have that for March 26th. So we will notify those people that are bidding. They have a few more days to get their assignments in. Then let's see. Then other thing that I wanted to let you know is that I've sort of formed a working group with 2 representatives from planning, 2 from zoning, 2 from affordable housing. And over the next 6 months, I expect them to meet somewhere between 4 to 5 times. But basically, we're putting them together to do a deep dive into that housing bill, which was 8002. Now it's Public Act 25-1. But there's 107 pages to go through. And it's very timely and consuming. There are different meetings all the time on this bill and how it's going to impact. And so I asked Eliza Lopresti to come over and do a presentation for them. And the first meeting will be held on the 26th here at Town Hall. Anybody's welcome to come. We will live stream it and whatever. It's more of an informational session for them so that they can talk freely. And then they go back to their respective groups to disseminate the information, because we can't send all of planning to a meeting, all of zoning, all of affordable housing, and there are meetings happening weekly. So this gives them a chance to sort of do a deep dive into all the information we can get for them, talk about it, and then go back to their respective groups and say, what do you think? And figure out what changes or anything that we're going to need to do in town. I did have a conversation with Russell Blair at FOIA. He said, you don't have to do an agenda, but I think we'll put out a meeting notice, but basically it'll be online. will tell you that it's going to be online. Eliza will do it. She'll share her screen. And if anyone else comes in, whether it be from the state or a rep, one of like Devin comes or Martha Marks comes to talk to them about it, we'll put it up so that everybody in town can see it and how it impacts. And that way we'll all know more about it. I think that's it for me. Anybody else?
I just received several calls from regarding the sinkhole in the driveway with getting the town engineer out there. So I know that that happened. So I appreciate that getting moved along.
Yep. That's in the works. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Jim?
I received communication from Rocco Tadera concerning water testing, point source testing for the proposed alternative to the sewer project. And I agreed with his email.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, we have next up, we have public comment. So if you're in the audience and you would like to have public comment, come on up.
To sit backwards?
Yeah,
Okay. all
because
right.
we want you on the mic.
Okay, on the mic. Okay. Good evening, everybody. My name is Sandra Rube, and I think many of you see me walking. I'm a walker. And I'm here to speak to you in support of the pedestrian bridge over the Halls River between the Hangry Goose and the Halls Road Shopping Center. Many of you see me walking around. I walk by Flo Grist. I try for 6 miles, but I don't always make it. And for me, this would be a welcome addition for Old Lyme. But beyond that, there are several other important points to consider in this whole project. The first is that the bridge's design is 85% complete. And it was thanks to the work of the Halls Road Committee, so that the design is there. The second is that the grants for this bridge will expire in September of 2026. Okay. The design for the deep fishing pier is not fully funded, but there are many active fishermen and women, you've seen them there, who would love to have for us to have a pier there. And another point is, of the $163,500 state grant awarded for the projects, $95,400 has already been used. Therefore, the $68,100 that remains, unless these funds were used to pay the AIE design firm, remain. So there is additional funds. So what I would say in conclusion is that the pedestrian bridge will provide more than simply a safer crossing for walkers. It will be an aesthetically attractive site that celebrates Old Lyme, open public space. It is a landmark that connects the arts, the civic, and the commercial centers. And that is basically why I support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you like to give a copy of your remarks to
Yes,
Jen? She'll
yes.
put them in the record.
I have on your copies.
Okay, thank you so much. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to speak?
I'm Jane Ungback. I live on 73 Neck Road, in town, of course. I am a former member of the Halls Road Committee. I was also a grant writer for the Halls Road project. I became involved in the Halls Road project partly because it was clear there was a section of town that frankly, I felt did not meet the image of Old Lyme, and that there was a plan for improvements to the commercial district of the town that made sense on many levels. the pedestrian bridge was just a component of a larger vision of what Halls Road might evolve to be. And it really was designed to connect the aesthetic and the historical parts of town with the commercial parts of town to really help unify, I think, that part of the community. We were successful in getting funding for the planning and design of the bridge, and in fact, went forward doing that. We ran into problems when we had to do the pier section of it. Otherwise, it would have gone forward probably to the end of the contracted provisions to end up with design and approvals for the community. Admittedly, this was an obstacle, but it turned out that the pier ended up to be the obstacle that broke the camel's back, so to speak. And at this point in time, we probably would be looking at the finishing, the end of it. I'm really distressed as a former person who made my living off of grants for approximately 40 years. This is the first time I would ever be involved in a project in which we would have stopped mid project and say, never mind, we don't want to do what we said we were going to do. Personally, I think that is a red flag for future funding, that you are have received funds and then stepped away from doing what you said you were going to do. I would think that you would need really good argument to withdraw from a project. And frankly, I'm uncertain of what the funding agency's feelings would be about whether or not you are responsible for some of the funds that were spent and no longer were being used. So I'm in favor of continuing through. Obviously, at this point in time, I don't see that we can complete the contracted project, but I would hope that the remainder of the funds would be spent to move it forward. So for that reason, I'm in support of continuing through as best as can be done.
Thank you. Anyone else? Come on up. My name is Faye Richardson. I live at 14 Ferry Road. And I want to say that my husband and I went to every open house at the town hall. We looked at mock-ups. We voted what we thought was in the best interest of the town. We went to meetings, large and small. We participated in the townwide survey. And in every case, every time we had an opportunity, we voted in favor of revitalizing our business district. We were thrilled at the prospect of that bridge moving that would allow us to walk safely from Lime Street to the business section. In fact, when the Hangry Goose opened, we vowed once a week we would have breakfast after walking up Lime Street, crossing, turning left, and going to sit by the river. We did it twice. Walking that little stretch for two people in their 80s was very uncomfortable. So I'm just here in support of the bridge project now, and maybe further developments for our beautiful little community. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Erin, come on.
Hi, I'm Evan Griswold, live at 24 Osprey Road and have am here to support the idea of rebuilding the bridge, which was an historic artifact of Old Lyme for centuries. My guess is that several people who of historic note crossed that bridge, and including Benjamin Franklin, who came across the Connecticut River on his way from New York to Boston, and he followed Route 1, the Boston Post Road, and that bridge before that was the route before the new Boston Post Road was re-engineered in the 1960s when the shopping center was built. So it's part of the history of Old Lyme. I think, as it's been said by others, it would be improve the view and to remind people who are walking and frankly driving or biking some of the way the history of how people got around, and if the bridge is rebuilt, I think you'd have a lot more people giving up their cars to go to the short distance from Lime Street to the shopping center, and that is why I support it. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Come on up.
Hello.
Mhm.
Jim Graybill. I'm the property owner of Lieutenant River Center. I think the bridge would be a nice asset for the town of Old Lyme. The Lieutenant River is a beautiful river, and it'd be nice if people can enjoy it. I only have two concerns. First is parking. You know, if they have a fishing pier, people go out there fishing, they could be there for hours and taking up parking space. My shopping center is packed. It's a full place during the day. If they provide parking on either side, so they can park on that side and then come down and fish, I think it'd be really nice to use that side because it's vacant. So, you know, parking's a problem. The other issue is on the plan that I saw, the approach to the bridge is on the corner of my property, which I'd be concerned about liability in case somebody falls off the bridge or slips at the end of the bridge and sues, you know, everybody wants to sue. But if it's on my property, I gotta make sure I'm not liable if there's an accident. So if we can work out those details, I think it'd be a nice thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks, Jim.
is there anyone else? Okay. Is there anyone online who would like to offer public comment? Scott Bullinger, you're online?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I just a real quick comment. I didn't go to the last cost sharing agreement committee meeting last week, I believe. Anyway, I was a little concerned that I think maybe you or somebody was on there from the town. I was hoping that someone from the town of Old Lyme would be a representative that'd be willing to serve on the construction committee with the three beaches to be still involved in the project. So just want to put that out there that, you know, we're looking forward to maybe getting someone from the beaches still involved, you know, from the town anyways. So I just wanted to make that comment.
Okay, thank you. I'll
Yep.
get back to you and Doug Whalen.
Thank you.
Anyone else online? No one else? Okay, hearing none, we can move on. to our regular Board of Selectmen approval of minutes for March 2nd, 2026. Were there any changes? I forgot to bring my copy, so you guys will have to be my eyes.
I saw none.
None?
I saw none.
There are no errors. There's just, the error may have been on my part, under comments, a general discussion. The police weren't mentioned along with Public Works, Fire Department, Emergency Services. I don't know if I did mention them or not, but if I didn't mention them, I'd like them mentioned if possible.
Okay. So hearing no other corrections, can I get a motion to approve the regular Board of Selectmen meeting minutes?
Make a motion to approve the March 2nd, 2026 Board of Selectmen minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Jim. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those to vote in approval of the minutes from March 2nd, 2026, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Okay, we get to new business. And the first one is the update and the discussion on the Bow Bridge project. Anita, I know you're online. I know you had to leave early, but I didn't know if you saw my email on numbers.
For,
The ARPA grant and the Bridge and Trails grant. I didn't know if you had seen that.
yeah, I sent it to you.
Okay,
That's-
I didn't see it when I came back from my engineering field trip.
Okay.
So
The ARPA money for, you're talking the Halls Road, correct?
the Bow Bridge, yeah, the bridge project.
Okay, the Halls Road one spent to date was 99,092.03. Remaining balance is $35,907.37.
Is that the ARPA grant?
That's the ARPA grant.
Thank you.
And I think, are you talking about the Connecticut Trails grant?
Right,
That
the
was the one.
CT Trails, what was we had we used 11,000, I believe, out of the 13
$13,551.
that we used.
Yes.
Or
that we
that
were
was the
reimbursed
grant?
for, yes.
Okay. All right, but that wasn't for much more. We didn't have much more to go in that grant.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Anita, I'm sorry, could you repeat the first numbers you gave us?
Halls Road spent to date $99,092.63. Current balance $35,907.37.
Thank you.
Connecticut, okay. You're welcome.
Bridget, did you got the?
I got the Connecticut Trails.
Okay. So let me tell you what kind of homework I've done. I had a conversation with AI engineers, and they, basically a while back, in the fall, we had completed the flora investigation because we had to have a spring one and a fall one. So Dave Provencher went and did that for us so we could get that. So it was combined and we had it done. Because at that point in time, I thought, well, let's just get this baseline done for the flora. So that was paid for, and so was the and then I talked to AI engineers, and they took a partial payment because they hadn't been paid in a very long time. So we gave them a partial payment, and then I explained to them that I wasn't sure where this project was moving, but I knew they had materials that they had done for us that were basically owned by us because we'd now paid them for them. And I certainly wanted those. I also talked to the Connecticut Trails and Bridge. I think I'm probably saying it wrong, Jane, but I talked to the coordinator for that, and she said, did you use the $13,000 for planning? And I said, yes. And she said, we have many, many projects that start and then don't get completed. She said, if you've used the money for planning, it's something that in the future will be perhaps built upon. And she said, so I don't think you owe this back to us. If we did, we have the money in the ARPA grant that we could pay it back if we had to. She was checking to get more, and I talked to her last week in preparation for this meeting. So she said, it's not something to be ashamed of. It's just things that happen. And I've had a very long conversation with Jamie Sidoriak, who is the deed person who put the restriction on the property that we received from the state of Connecticut. And I explained to her that while the Bow Bridge reconstruction was something that the town had voted upon early on, to add another 250 to $500,000 to construct a fishing pier with more permits and more surveys was kind of unrealistic. I said, that's not something that we ever considered when we first thought of this plan. And she said, I get it. It's a big project and it's very costly. And she said, you know, I'm sorry to hear it. And I said, again, I don't know where we're going, but I said, that really was the iron that kind of broke the back of this project, because it wasn't something that we were considering. So I've kind of cleared up all those pieces, not that but we have to have a discussion, because first of all, the ARPA grant, the $35,907 will subside in December of 2026. And that will go back to the way the ARPA committee formulated the ARPA funds. Anything in the town that we gave out that wasn't used would go back to the town social services account, so that it would still be used by the town. And that was approved at a town meeting here when we worked on the ARPA funding. So whoever is not muted, could you please make sure you're muted, because we're getting feedback from your mics. Thank you. And then we, sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Social services.
Social services. So the money would go back to the town. If we owned the 13,000, if they find out and they come back to me next week and say, we are going to have to ask for the bridge money back, that would come out of the 35,000. And there's also some money that I believe is in a fund, a special fund as well, Anita, but I'm not sure which fund number that is. And I feel like it's Fund 32, but I could be wrong. Anyway, there is some money there, but that would stay there for Halls Road. So we're kind of at this point. And as far as AI engineers, I talked to Michael Greer. He sent me everything that we have, and he wants me to call Dave for Venture and get everything that Dave has. But he sent me everything he had so that I would have everything in a document file. And he said, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think you owe us any more money. We'll take the partial payment. And I reached out to him when he sent me the files today, and I said, what's the status of the thing? And he has not gotten back to me. But the other day he goes, Martha, I don't think you owe us another dime. I think we're happy with that partial payment. So knowing all that, now it's time for us to have a discussion as we move forward to decide how we're going to handle that. It's only March, but December will be here before we know it. So we've got to think about this ARPA money. And the only thing that ARPA money can be used for is planning and design of the bridge. That's the only thing it can be used for. You cannot trade it off for another project. So when we're audited by the federal government in 27, that has to say that we didn't use it all or whatever. So that's where we are. So I'm open to hearing from both of you.
All right, I'll go.
Flip a coin.
I mean, it's a tough one. And we know we heard some very eloquent testimony to why we should do this. The town has approved it, and it's been approved at town meetings. The funding was approved, so it would be disrespecting the will of the voters, who did approve this and approved to push it forward. I think it is distinct from the overlay, which was very controversial, obviously, and has been defeated. So this kind of stands as an element on its own. But the problem is it has grown. It has metastasized from what we were planning as, in the very beginning, it was going to be a very bucolic little reconstruction of the old Bow Bridge, but that proved to be impractical due to just building code, modern codes. So the scope of that project grew. And then as it grew, there were, the fire department needed certain requirements, there were certain parking requirements, and then the fishing pier. And suddenly it's not just a little bucolic bridge, now it's this whole production down there. And since the funding is in place, my instinct would be to push this forward. But it's grown to the point where, it just may be too much. So I was wondering if you had any sense that Deep would back off on this fishing pier stuff.
It's always, there's always a chance. There's always a chance that we could talk to Jamie once again and say, could we, we just discuss this one more time. I can do that. I've had many meetings with her in my office over the years, and I can reach out and get that answer for us, because we don't need to make a decision tonight on any of this, but I think that it was time to start having the discussion. John, what do you want to say? Are you John? Yeah, okay.
I think Jim is correct. This is something that snowballed beyond the initial conception. I don't think a true partner makes a demand that we have to take on what's essentially a whole new project with the fishing pier. We're on the verge of convening a sidewalk committee. That'll be later tonight. And I think there's opportunities there. We've already discussed that the state in short order will be looking to redo the bridge over Route 1, and there will be opportunities there to make that more in line with what we probably want to see happening with sidewalks on the street. And it would be improved safety, improved sighting, improved appearances. And it would be on the state's dime probably, rather than our cost or even the money that we would be getting from the sidewalk grant. I think the smart thing we've mentioned to do our sidewalk project on either side of that and come back to it when the state does the bridge. We like to say it's the Bow Bridge, but there's no bow, because we know that handicap accessibility and all that does not allow the angle that we would want to see for the historic kind of reminiscent view that we maybe initially conceived. Again, the width with the fire department, it just kept snowballing with more and more requirements. So I'm not sure that the general public now has the same appetite as when the initial conception occurred. It wouldn't be a terrible thing for social services to get $35,000. It stays with the town. I'm sure we can do some very good things with that. I'm willing to see if that one conversation with the state to eliminate the pier would, maybe change people's perspectives on what we could do.
Okay. I will say that, I've had a couple of conversations, 5 or under, with some fishermen who've said, leave it alone. I don't want a fishing pier. I really like to be under the bridge. And I like the quietness that it instills. And if you put a fishing pier in, it's going to draw more people. And instead of, I mean, he said, we'll still be spread out because we're still going to go to our favorite spots, but there will be more people that will be on around the area. And he said, and that's not good for fishing. They also said that the stripers are returning. And they said, if you start construction down there, the stripers, which are about this long, he explained to me now, he said, will go away again and it'll take us years to get them back. They will not like all the construction and the maneuvering down there. So that's one thing. I'm not sure the bridge qualifies for congressionally directed spending, although because there's a variety of categories, some of which, by the way, I was reminded last night by Erin McBride, who works for Senator Murphy's office, are never even touched or requested. They never have anyone go for them. So she said, if you call me, I can tell you which ones never have anything to go for. So we can see what that lines up to see if there's anything there. And I can do some research on that over the next 2 weeks. That has to be in April 6th. Those have to be in. So we do have time. And because we can have a special meeting if we have to. So I'll do some homework on that. I personally love walking bridges. And I think that there are some beautiful ones, Manchester, Vermont. I love the ones in Shelburne Falls, Massachusetts. They've done a wonderful job incorporating walking bridges into their communities to help their business districts align to allow for pedestrians to walk safely. And I do think that's very important. But I do think that with the Halls Road Sidewalk Committee, they can start to look at some options. I mean, there's really strict requirements on the Halls Road sidewalk because we have to follow DOT guidelines. So it's not like doing the Ferry Road or the Lime Street sidewalks. They've got real strict requirements on this because it is a business road. And they'll be working along with us in partnership on that because they want to see this go through. They do want to make the bridge safer. My first meeting with them was the bridge isn't going to be done for 20 years. By the end of the conversation, 45 minutes later, it was 5 years. We can get it done in 5 years. We'll get it done in 5 years. I said, okay. So they would probably be making some changes on that bridge as well. So I think that once we start to have conversations with them, see what their options are, and hopefully some of that will move along between now and the fall. And if so, then they may come to us and say, we'd really like to keep moving forward with the design of that bridge. And I do think it's probably even more than, I think somebody said 85%. I think it's even a little bit more. And just so the ARPA funds don't go away until September of 2026. And the bridge and trail money is just a quarterly report, and it's not. She said, just get it to me by April. I have to send it to her by April 3rd. And it's not saying that we're not doing it. It's just saying the only thing that we paid out of it was we paid the $1,000 for the flora study because that was part of it. So we can go from there. But I appreciate both of you sharing your thoughts, and we'll see what I do and I'll let you know. Okay, the next one is the Halls Road sidewalk proposal from Nathan Jacobson. So Jim, just so you know, you had mentioned the bid process and the proposal from Jacobson. So when I told Aaron that, he was a little concerned, and he said, why do you say that? And I said, well, we have a bid process. And he said, so he looked at our bidding policy. And he said, you have to remember that years ago, you had a town engineer, Tom Metcalf, who was here and he serviced the town. And he said, and then you hired us as your town engineers. And he said, so if you had a town engineer that was upstairs at a desk, you'd be having him do this. And he said, I'm your town engineer. My office is just in Chester. I'm really sorry I'm not over at town hall, but I'm here at your beck and call any given day. So he read through and he said that the application section of our bid policy states that the policy shall apply to all except, and under 9, expenditures for routine professional services who are appointed to handle ongoing routine town business on a regular basis, such as, but not limited to, town attorney, town engineer, etc. He said, I think Nathan Jacobson as town engineer is an et cetera in that exemption. We were selected by a formal RFQ process for the town engineer to perform ongoing and routine professional services. Designing a sidewalk in the town is a town engineer service, making the bid policy procedures not applicable. I'm also happy to run this by the Board of Finance tomorrow night if anybody would like an option on that as well. But I think we have to consider that he is perhaps correct in that we have hired them. They do everything else. I will say that he's had extensive background on this connectivity grant.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know,
And he's already started us a little bit.
Yeah, I
He's
think
attended meetings with us.
he's terrific and, you know, we work together on the application, on the grant itself. So, my questions weren't about Jacobson
Right.
per se, you know, I mean, I think they're terrific. And I think the bid is very reasonable. I think the rule of thumb would be about 200,000. So we're pretty well below that. So it's not like the cost is outrageous. I just wanted to make sure that we're doing our due diligence and, you know, it's because it is 173,000. I just wanted
I agree.
to get a ruling on that to see, you know, what we should be doing. Cause you know, I don't want to get too far down the road and people say, why the hell didn't you go out to bid for this? You know, but that reasoning makes sense to me. So
What do you think?
I'm following the logic, but since Board of Finance is tomorrow night, maybe we just run it by them to be
That's
extra
fine.
diligent.
sounds good.
I'm happy to do that. And I'll let him know once we have a conversation. But I would say that it would delay the Halls Road Sidewalk Committee for a while because there wouldn't be much they could do starting until we'd go through the bid process.
Yeah,
And that would take anywhere from probably 8 to 9 weeks.
in my experience, the formation of these sidewalk committees happened after the engineer was already in place.
Right.
So we wouldn't want to put the committee ahead of the selection of the engineer.
Okay, so so I'll do my homework. I'll get back to you if we have to meet. Well, we don't have to meet on that one beforehand, but I'll let you know. Okay. Appointments to authorities, boards, commissions, and committees. And the first one up is the Halls Road Sidewalk Committee. We have 9 positions. That means that, I think it was stuck in out of order. Hold on a minute. Yes, it did. By the way, the one person that had applied last week who said he was changing his, he came in the group applications and he called Vicky to say he was changing his affiliation. He did come in to do that this afternoon with Jen. So we have a board of 9, and on a board of 9, you cannot have more than 2/3 any one party. So we have board of 9, 2/3, so 6. So we have, I believe it's 7, 2, 3, 4,
6.
6 applications from Republicans. We have 2 now unaffiliated and 2 Democrats, if I count everything correctly. I'm sorry, I was trying to do everything, get everything into order. Okay. By the way, for those of you who applied on paper, please start using our new handy dandy form that comes up automatically because this means Wendy, Katie and Vicky do not have to enter all the data by hand. It really helps, saves a lot of time. So, anybody want to start talking about each of the, how do we want to do this, etc. I think that one of the things that we're looking for is people who have construction and engineering backgrounds, also contract experience, and also financial, because that helps on a project going forward.
Sure. And Timothy Griswold, I see him on here, and he was kind of our front man for the Ferry Road sidewalk project. So I think he would bring a lot of experience for sidewalks alone, in addition to all his years of experience in municipal government. So I would nominate Timothy Griswold to the sidewalk committee.
And I'll second that. He also might be really good with the $170,000 proposal. If you won't let them go over it. Okay, so that's John and Martha. Any more discussion on Tim? Hearing none. All those in favor of nominating Timothy Griswold to the Halls Road Sidewalk Committee, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Tim is on board. Okay.
I have a quick question.
Jim, you want to pick one?
I have a quick question. Did we get, I have indications that Mark Comstock did apply today. And he had applied.
Is Katie online? Katie, did you receive an application from Mark Griswold? Because
Comstock.
I'm sorry, Mark Comstock. Did it come through? I know he was having trouble with the online portal. He indicated to us that he'd applied on February 15th, but he sent in a letter of resignation from conservation. Katie, anything from Mark?
Martha, no, I do not have anything from him at this point in time.
She did talk to him today when he was having trouble applying. But
Well, we've discussed before how important it is to have actual business owners on this committee, seeing as it'll affect them so much and they should have some good input. So I see Brent Edmond on here.
Mhm.
He's expressed interest from the get-go. So I would nominate Brett Edmond to the sidewalk committee.
okay, so he'll be one. And he's now a you.
Correct.
So,
Second.
any further discussion? Actually, he was one of the first people I called because I wanted to know what he wanted because the state's going to require him to have some type of an island because of the expanse.
Yep.
But he wants to have it done like Fromage and Saybrook. Did you second? You
I did.
second. Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor of naming Brett Edmond to the sidewalk committee, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion passes. Okay, Jim, do you have anybody that you see that you would like to appoint?
Yeah, plenty of people. I just want to bring up Mark again because he contacted me the day that I commented on Facebook that, the grant that we had applied for came through. He reached out to me that he wanted to be on this. And he reached out to me again on the 14th of February saying he had applied. And today saying that he had talked to Katie and applied. So I just want to make sure he's not being overlooked. But we don't have his application. So let's go with James Glenn, who's an attorney. And be valuable to give us some insight as to legal questions that inevitably arise when we do these sorts of projects.
So you're making that a motion?
Make a motion to appoint James Glenn to the Halls Road Sidewalk Committee.
I'll second James.
Okay. I'm just making sure that we fill our categories so I don't. So Jim, John. And James has a great deal of background in contract law and negotiations, so you can negotiate the Jacobson proposal down. Okay, all those in favor of James Glenn being appointed to the sidewalk committee signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. Okay. I would also. I think I can pick, right? I know that we have two people that have backgrounds in commercial projects and construction superintendents. Both with about 40 and 50 years, Don Burrow and Bob Antoniak. I would be happy to nominate Bob Antoniak to the Halls Road Committee.
I will second.
Any discussion?
I think that's a great addition. Bob has tried to be on some other commissions and he's swinging away here, so I'd really like to see him.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor of naming Bob Antoniak to the Sidewalk Commission, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we've got 4 to 5 to go.
Right, as mentioned, Don Bureau is another great choice. He's also a small business owner, so I think he kind of gets the business perspective in addition to his construction, so I would nominate Don Bureau.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Okay. Jim, any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of appointing Don Burrow to this Halls Road Sidewalk Committee, please signify by saying aye.
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 Okay. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Jim, do you have anyone that you'd like to nominate on your list?
I would like to nominate Frank Morelli, who has engineering experience.
Okay. Anybody want a second?
I will second Frank Morelli.
You know, Mr. Morelli's online. So. Oops, okay. Okay. Any further discussion on Frank? Having none, he has an engineering background. That's great. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Frank is on the Halls Road Sidewalk Committee. Okay, we have. I would nominate out of the remaining 4, I would nominate Robin Breeding to the Halls Road Committee. I know that she wrote that she would like to use some of her design experience. And I think that would be good for this committee. I'll nominate her.
I will second.
Any further comments?
I think she has a good perspective. Could probably bring a very good, fresh look at this, and I'm in favor.
Okay.
I think we need someone who can weigh in on the aesthetics, since there will be, benches, lighting, et cetera, et cetera. So it'd be valuable to have someone like that. I would just, hope that everyone that, and this goes for everybody that has volunteered for this, is doing so in the interest of making this a successful project and the sidewalks actually get built. So I think she would bring a lot to the table.
Okay, all those in favor of appointing Robin Breeding to the Halls Road Committee? Halls Road Sidewalk Committee. Sorry, I'm gonna get it eventually. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion passes. Thank you for that. We have two more positions available.
I will nominate Sloan Danenauer.
Is there a second? There is no second, so the motion dies.
I would nominate Chris Kerr.
Second.
Okay, any comments on Chris?
Chris has a good background for this. He's a former selectman and has some construction knowledge. I would wholeheartedly endorse him.
Yeah, Chris has sat in this seat and I've worked with him on planning. I think he would bring a valuable perspective.
Okay. All those in favor of appointing Christopher Kerr to the Hiles Road Sidewalk Committee, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Thanks, Jen. And we have one last person. We have Dan Montano. The only thing that I could see is it would be nice to have one more person on here that would be a business owner. I wish we could have another business owner.
I wish his application was in.
I know, but
Can we hold that seat open for now? I mean, I have assurances from him that he had applied, so. Like,
That's why so many people did paper because many people in the past have.
yeah, there's something. going
this is a
on.
brand new system though this
I
year. We
know.
haven't had any problems this year.
So, is it possible to hold that seat open until we get to the bottom of this as to? I mean, I've had extensive conversations with him. I'm kind of surprised that we don't have his application. He is a business owner. So
On
he-
Halls Road,
on Halls Road.
not to mention the fact that he said about being supportive of landscaping and things like that
Right.
for the project. I'm not opposed, but I'm not willing to do it for like an open week or something. I'm happy if he can get it in by Wednesday. I mean, like I said, he said he had done it February 15th. He's not in the system. He didn't do it on the online system. He didn't send it to the selectman's office. He didn't send it. Everybody's checked their emails. Nothing has come in except for the fact on February 14th, he did send a resignation letter from conservation because he'd never formally resigned from conservation. He'd only told the board, but he'd never sent a letter in, and Vicky needed it for her files. But that's, I'm okay with it if we.
I mean, my reluctance is we have a candidate who has come forward and submitted the application and is a good candidate.
I think I'm just, what do you want to do? If somebody wants to make a motion, we can make a motion. For Dan, we can make a motion to hold,
All right,
but we need a motion somewhere.
I will make a motion to appoint Daniel Montano to the Falls Road Sidewalk Committee.
Do I have a second? Okay, I don't have a second, therefore that motion dies. We'll hold that last position. And whoever gets their applications in, perhaps we'll have more to consider going forward.
Well, I'm not sure that, I would be in favor at this point, because, I just want to give us even just 24 hours to clear this up, because he had reached out several times to me. So I just want to make sure that we didn't miss anything.
Okay, well, I can have Katie give him a call tomorrow and walk him. She was on the website with him.
Right.
So, we have an application. The next thing up is the Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Commission. We have an application, but there's also a concern about the minority rep on this one. I think we're in a questionable mode between alternates and people. So I'm going to ask that we hold off on this one. So we can,
It's either it is or it isn't.
well, if you have the list.
I didn't print out the whole list, no.
Oh, you don't have the list for inland wetlands?
No.
Well, it's because we have 7 regular members and 2 alternates. And right now, we have 6 Republicans on the IWWC. And if that is, then we are out of compliance, because at a party of 7, we should only have 5.
I don't think it's 9.
It's 2 alternates. 7 plus
not.
2,
5 and 2.
7 and 2. I can have, Katie, would you look it up while you're there? Would you just please look up it? We'll just move to the next one, but would you look up inland wetlands, how many members total? And the count, my count was that we have a total of 9 set. There are currently 6 Republicans and 2 Ds.
Martha, there are 7 regular seats and 2 alternates.
Right, and now what's the breakdown of those 7 regular seats?
5 Republican
And
and
2 Ds.
2 Ds, and then you've got 1 D as an alternate.
Right. So with 9, and this is where we go back and forth, because sometimes Vicky says we're supposed to count the alternates, other times we're not, and I'm a little confused on this one. And I don't want to appoint him, John, and then find out that we're over. I'd rather count it and do this next time around. I don't have anyone else for this position. He's going to be an alternate, and I'm thrilled that he wants to come back on. I think he was on the commission at one time, but I don't want to appoint and have to not pull out of an appointment. So I would rather have this go through and just check with Vicky again tomorrow and make sure that we're all both reading this the right way. I want to take caution on this. But I have no qualms about him getting on, but I just need to make sure that we're following the rules correctly. Because if what Katie has told us, and it's the 7, that we're only supposed to look at the 7, then we're over, because we should only have 4. And right now we have 5, and putting on a 6 would really throw us over. Now, if we only have to look at, if we look at the 9, then we can have 6.
We looked at the 9 when we did appointments last time.
I know. But then I was told something else. So I'm like, which is it? So I want to clarify with her. I agree. Here's my feeling. My feeling is that you look at just the regulars, because the alternates only fill in when an all regular is out. And we had this question come up at the FOIA training, but again, it was sort of a convoluted thing about whatever. I don't even think we have a meeting coming up on IWWC, so we can, I mean, we can call a special meeting for 5 minutes over the thing once we get this clarified.
Can we get a ruling from the municipal law attorney?
Sure. I'm happy to move this along, and I think it's for the best thing. We'd all feel more secure. All right, we have one
We
person
need a motion
to not act on it.
to
No,
table.
To
It's
table.
on the agenda.
Sure. We can take a motion to table the Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Commission. Would you like to make that motion? John?
No.
Okay, I will. Do you have a second?
Second.
All those in favor of tabling the Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Commission signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, any abstentions? 2-1. Lamppost and Shoemaker will table till next time, or a phone meeting sometime this week. All right, in Lyme Senior Center, we have 1 position open due to the resignation of Sean. Mary Lou Rice has applied. She's also attended a meeting, and I already heard from Peter Lucchese that he would like her to fulfill that seat. So, and I have a motion for Mary Lou Rice for the Lyme Senior Center.
Make a motion to appoint Mary Lou Rice to the Lyme Senior Center Board of Directors.
I'll second. Any discussion?
There's no concerns for the breakdown there?
I don't believe so. There's plenty. Katie, can you check quickly for Lyme Senior Center so we make sure? I think that one's pretty well split.
Five Ds. 2 Rs. 4 unaffiliated.
So we can. So we have 5. Oh, but wait, you gotta take out the Lymes. You gotta take out the people from Lyme. I mean,
Yep, you're right.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's Lyme is minus two U's and 1 D.
You're gonna have to give that to us
Well,
now. It's
but
just,
still, like, here's another, but still, they make up the. They make up
yep, I know.
the,
Okay, then I'm gonna make a motion to move that, the Lyme Senior Center, same thing, to the next meeting.
There's a
so that-
motion on the table, Martha,
I'm sorry.
to appoint her and seconded.
So, Jim, do you want to amend your motion?
I will amend my motion to table the Lyme Senior Center Board of Directors appointment pending a ruling on minority representation.
And I will second that amended motion. Okay, all those in favor of the amended motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And I'll send all of this to legal tomorrow morning to get rulings and check with Vicky, et cetera. All right, our last one is the water pollution control. Laura Parent is currently an alternate on the WPCA. She would like to move to one of the vacant full-time positions because she would like to take over the accounting. She has an accounting background. So she was hoping, they don't have anyone to fulfill Andrea Lombard's position. So Laura said that she would step up to the plate and do it if we could make her they can't have an alternate as a treasurer.
I would like to nominate Laura Parent to the regular position on the WPCA.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of naming Laura Parent from an alternate to a full-time position on the WPCA signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Laura goes to a full-time. Now, Bill Reynolds has applied. And I don't know how you guys feel, but we have a lot of people from the shoreline. I'm wondering if we should try to look for some people that are not on the shoreline because our WPCA does not just service the shoreline.
Yeah, it's the one thing that jumped out at me. I don't have any objections to Bill Reynolds per se, but it's really a microcosm for geography as far as the WPCA is currently. So it would be good to try to get outside that circle, I think.
I think Bill Reynolds would be good, but I really haven't reviewed the makeup in terms of addresses. So I would be happy to table this with all the others until we investigate further what our geographic representation is on the WPCA.
Okay, so we'll table the second appointment for that as well. Okay, moving on to old business. Thank you both. Singles were more difficult than bigs. All right, mailbox policy. We had the mailbox policy come before us. Ed had not finished looking at it. Ed has seen it. Ed has blessed it. He loves it, especially the diagram. which John, by the way, you're the one that pointed out we should put in because it was in Westbrook's, I believe. So, with the deal with policy is it's just the Board of Selectmen who chooses to put this as part of our policy handbook. And then we would post this on the Public Works page and also probably the Selectmen's page during the wonderful winter season so that people would realize that we would love to fix your mailbox if you let us know in a timely manner and that if they hit your post, they'll try to fix it, etc. So I'd like to make a motion to adopt this mailbox damage policy that we set forth 2 weeks ago for adoption.
I will second.
Any further discussion?
Again, I think it's very reasonable. I think it's, in writing for everyone to see. And, again, the actual schematic for official USPS, which I did have a contractor show me years ago because he wouldn't put my mailbox on my fence that I had at the time because it said, can't do that. So, yeah, I'm all in favor of it.
Okay, any further?
Yeah, the public has had a chance to look at it. We received my only concern was it really favored the town. But no one has spoken up about it, so I'm fine with it.
All those in favor of adopting the mailbox damage policy as so written, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion passes. Thank you. All right, Duck River Garden Club Certificate of Appropriations for the Blue and Gold Memorial Markers. We had a historic district meeting last Monday. I can't believe it was a week ago. And at first there was a little concern. So I finally said to them, look, all we want you to do is say that you'll work with us. So they gave us the parameters. The stone is 11 by 15. I think they're agreeing that we can have it embedded on a natural stone.
The stone or the plaque?
The plaque.
The plaque.
The plaque is
You
11
said-
by,
You said stone.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
11 by 15 thing, but it'll be 15 by 20. So maybe it's 11 by 16, 15 by 20 stone that it will be placed on. So we have Mary Ellen we had an idea that we're going to get a couple of pieces of styrofoam, cut them to that size and walk to look and see what it's going to look like
Okay.
in the garden over there or over here. And then we'll go back to the historic district once we have a look-see of what it'll look like, because it's very hard to envision. I think that the Duck River Garden Club were like, well, we could put it in the garden. I'm like, you put 2 of those in your garden, you're not gonna have a garden anymore over there. So they've got to figure out if that's what the look that they want, or is that too much signage in that one spot? So we'll play around with it.
Okay.
Mary Ellen and I'll take some pictures and
I'm just smiling because I'm envisioning a search committee for the right rocks if this comes to fruition.
well, Jim got a beautiful lockdown at the Solstice Stone, so I'm sure he can find us a rock.
I can source rocks.
I got to tell you that somebody said that day, they said, there's a lot of rocks down at exit 75. I bet we could have our pick. Anything at exit 75.
Those are all.
Yeah, they're grinding those up.
Monetized.
Making good money with that stuff.
All right, our next one is further discussion and possible action on revisions to ethics code. Mr. Mangano, I know you're online. And we are here. I know that I spoke to council today and she said that she would get back to you on your email to her. You'd have to unmute yourself, Lou, because you're muted at the moment, or maybe Katie has to mute you.
No, I got it. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she will get back to you.
Okay, good.
But basically the time was that both of you would have time to read these and have any questions for Lou.
Sure, I have a question. I have a comment also. So Lou, thanks for hanging out for the whole meeting. We appreciate you being at the end.
Sure. And
Thanks for giving me some time to look at this. The thing that struck me right off the bat at the last meeting was the proposed definition of probable cause.
yeah,
And when I look at this, I was thinking about a layman, someone from the public coming, that wanted to make a complaint, and it shouldn't be really overly lawyer-esque jargon. It should be easy for people to understand. And when I looked at it a little bit more, I noticed that the slide that you used in your presentation for the definition of probable cause doesn't match your big draft list of changes, because the slide said a referral for a hearing by the commission exists when a finding that the facts of the matter complained of provides a reasonable ground to suspect that a code violation may have occurred. And so reasonable ground was really what kind of stuck in my claw, because reasonable ground is not really a standalone term. It's more synonymous with probable cause in this realm. And if you go over to the chart, it says the suggested definition would read: probable cause exists when a finding that the facts of the matter complained of warrant a reasonable person to believe that the alleged violation of this code is more likely than not to have occurred. I'm all in favor of the reasonable person standard. I just want to make sure that that's the actual proposed change.
yeah, the actual proposed change, thank you for your comment. And let me also point out that I'm online. Also, another member of the commission, Claudia Schmaus, is online as well. Yeah, the language that was in the initial draft, you cite correctly. The language that was in the slide I presented last week, which included the ground verbiage, was adopted because that was the language suggested by town council. The initial language, reasonable person, was the commission's language. When council reviewed that, she provided language that was actually taken from the definition used in Black's Law Dictionary. So that's why we adopted it, because it was endorsed and suggested, recommended by town council. That was the reason for the change in language.
So I'm sorry, I'm not sure I'm hearing this right.
Okay,
What's the actual suggested?
This one.
The actual
proposed
suggested language
definition.
is to reasonable
That's
ground,
Yeah.
as opposed to reasonable person. So the actual suggestion is what I presented last week, the recommendation.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at several other towns, and
Yeah.
they even are even more plain, because they say it doesn't rise to the level of it's above mere suspicion, but less than proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
also use the reasonable person standard. I'm really not liking the
legal language.
reasonable grounds verbiage, as opposed to a reasonable person, which I think more people would understand.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair comment, and I think the commission could adopt person rather than ground. So we would make that change. I think
I don't
that's a
know if you could say
reasonable
that. I don't think I
reasonable
make sense.
request. And I think it's
Provides a
still
reasonable person.
to
I
suspect.
think
Well, if you look at, it's easier to read if you read.
Thank you.
if this is consistent with established law, it does the same thing.
Yeah.
And it is balanced by the reasonable ground is, it's not totally equivocal, and then may have occurred. So that gives someone a lot of leeway. There's a reasonable ground to say, yeah, possibly so, let's open a hearing. And then the finding of violation is obviously a little tighter.
Yes.
So personally, I'm comfortable with this, because it is consistent, language with established law. But I think if you want to go to person, it has the same function, really.
I think we agree with you. All right. So why don't we edit that revision, that proposed revision to read reasonable person as opposed to ground. I think that makes sense, and it doesn't dilute or modify the intent of that recommendation at all.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Point well taken.
So do you want to check with your committee before, because I will tell you, conservation is coming back with their proposed changes to their ordinance in 2 weeks at the first meeting in April. So we can do you both and approve you both if you want to run this by ethics one more time, or to question Christy Kelly why she suggested the word change. We're okay for 2 weeks because we're not going to a town meeting for just you or just conservation. We're going together.
All right. Okay. Well, why don't we? That's fine. We'll send a notice to commission members to see if anyone objects, and copy Christie in on that and to get her opinion. That's fine.
Are we good with that? I'm good with that. Then
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's plenty of town and city code of ethics that have a reasonable person standard in their code.
Did you say that was Groton?
I think I took East Haddam, I took New London, so they even kind of break it down a little bit more that it's the belief should be more than a mere suspicion, less than a proof beyond a reasonable doubt. I'm fine with the way it's phrased here. I just would like to change the reasonable ground to a reasonable person.
Okay.
Okay, just because I know there's a couple of members of your committee that will want to say something about this, so I'm pretty sure that they.
Yeah. Well, I think, that's fine.
I want them to have their say, because otherwise they'll feel that they weren't heard.
No, I think it's fine, because as I said, the original language that we had was person, and then we just changed it because of Christy Kelly's comment. So I don't think anyone's going to object. We'll be fine.
I am always okay with this.
Right.
Okay.
I appreciate that. I'm just looking at it as somebody looking at this to fill it out, to figure out, because the burden of proof is on the complainant. So I think it needs to be readily understandable by a member of the public.
We totally agree, because that's the whole point of this exercise, was to make it readily understandable and a little bit more clear and easily understood. So point well taken.
Thank you. Okay, we are down to the last selectmen general discussion. Do we have anything for general discussion for the good of the town?
Martha, can I just?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Sure. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. So barring that one change, were there any other comments on the proposed revisions?
No, I just think that Lou, I will only say to you that we have to put it in an easier format for presentation to the town meeting. That's all.
Okay, we can work on that subsequent. Yeah.
Okay.
Very
Great.
good. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything
Thank you.
for selectmen's
Appreciate it.
general discussion, except for the fact about the crack in the table that we're not going to have place.
We discussed the River Cog letter concerning SB 151. Just wondering if that was.
I think we're done. Close.
Dan sent it out
Okay.
to represent all the towns.
So that wasn't something that was signed by individual towns.
No, it was signed by Sam on behalf of all the towns that he represented.
Okay.
And I did send a copy of that to Elizabeth Reagan. She asked for a copy. I can send a copy to both of you if you would like it.
I saw his testimony.
Okay.
We talked about the bid policy, and the bid policy was discussed earlier, and in reading through the bid policy prior to the meeting, I just noticed that it doesn't say anything about, and because we've discussed this before, but it doesn't say anything about taxes in good standing.
So I want you to know that the finance board is currently looking at their policies to revise, but I will mention that tomorrow night.
That'd be great, because I mean, I think that's important. You know, if you're doing business with the town, you should, goes both ways, so.
Yep.
I agree.
John, Jim, see, I do it, Jim too. Could you just-
I'm just chopping liver.
Does anyone have a middle name I could use instead?
No.
No, I really don't, for a change, have anything extra to add to the meeting.
Okay. Okay, so I need a motion to adjourn
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
at 6:55.